Hello everyone, it is Caitlin, and today we are making a late 1830s cotton dress. Hello and welcome to another super random project that I didn't think I'd be doing, but here we are. So I got invited to go cook at a house, and it's 1835 to 1844. And do I have work dresses that match that time period? Absolutely. Is it going to stop me from making a new dress in 5 days so I have something brand new to wear? Absolutely not. So here we are. This is a fabric I already had in my stash it's a reproduction fabric. I don't know. I just fell in love with it. And it has been screaming to be a post-rev dress. And by post-rev, I mean like post-Texas Revolution, not like post-American Revolution. So I actually really, really like the style post-Great Sleeve Collapse, which happened in late 1836. Really that 1837 to 1840 range I really love, particularly like the 1838, 1839 time frame. And this fabric has just been screaming to be that kind of dress. And guess what falls right in the middle of 1835 to 1844? 1838. So let's go ahead and make a dress. We're going to start with a skirt, and I'm going to cut 3 panels for the skirt. I'm going to go ahead and go even up this edge though first, because I haven't done that. I just got through washing it. Let's see, is there a pattern to this? Yes, there is. Let's do this. That didn't work. Okay. We'll do the top of this instead. Okay, cool. Now that that's straight, let's go with cutting it 45 inches long. Actually, it's going to be more like 36 because I want to make sure that this is even. This is the easy part, the skirt. So it's just rectangles, as it is through most of the, first half of the 19th century. At least the first mid-half. And now I have plenty of fabric to cut the bodice and sleeves. Now comes the portion of our show where we're going to Franken pattern ourselves a dress. Because I'm too lazy to draft this thing. It's getting kind of late, and I want this done, so we're going to use the patterns I already have and just mash them all together. Alright, here's the front part, which I do want this to be a front opening dress. The whole reason I actually am making this as well is because none of my 1840s dresses are front opening, and I can't get into them by myself, and I'm going to need to get dressed by myself this weekend. I am not going to cut this on the bias, even though I would in the 30s. Okay, now I gotta look at this again, because 1840s, you don't usually cut the bodice on the bias. 1830s, you usually do. I'm going to go look at my transition dresses real quick and figure out what I need to do. Alright, after long careful consideration, I decided non-bias. You can really do either or. I'm seeing originals in this time period that are definitely cut on the bias, and some that aren't, and most of them I just can't tell. So, we're going to go with no, because I already have it pinned here. Now I am going to use this for other bits. So, how wide is that? Oh, that's good. Okay, cool. I think the wristband needs to be 2 inches. So I'm going to cut it 3. Now I have that. Another thing I can do with scrappy bits is cut. We're going to need lots of ruffles, so we might as well go ahead and cut those now. Alright, we are at the point where we're making a little pelerine bit that's going to go on top. It's not going to be a big one, it's going to be a very small little ruffly bit. So I have this one, the front one, patterned out, I think. Okay, we're cutting it. The back one. Just went across the neckline. Went out a little bit, and we're also going to kind of go out. Just slightly to kind of give it a little bit more extra room. And I'm going to cut this 3 inches wide. Then we're going to use my German day bodice pattern from not Timely Dresses, Truly Victorian, to cut out the sleeve jockey bit. Okay, we're going to cut it like this. We're and cut it straight, not the little decorative bits. We're going to decorate it with ruffles. And I think this is the last bit I need to cut is piping. I think I have everything else cut. We'll just start sewing. Well, I gotta cut lining bits, but that's basically the same things we just did. Alright, here we are on the edge of the couch. With the sleeve, we're going to pleat the sleeve, and I'm using a smocking pleater because I'm lazy. And there's a dog. The other one's on the other side of the couch. So we've done one sleeve completely, and I like the way it looks, so we're just going to go ahead and do this one. I already have it threaded, and I just like to pull it when it gets a little too full. And ideally you would do this with like a rod or something in here, but oh well. And rod would just like keep it straight, which I'm not terribly concerned about. So you can see this is a little crooked, but I'm not actually pleating any of this. I'm not going to actually smock any of this. I'm not concerned about it. It just needs to hold everything in place. Sometimes I'll do this with gauging too, when I gauge skirts. Every once in a while, my pleater doesn't always like to go through all those layers, but not if you have a super full skirt, because you can't change the lengths of the pleats. And yes, I do know I usually start with skirts, and occasionally I'll start with bodices. Today we're starting with sleeves, mostly because I really like these sleeves. I don't get to do things like this very often. Like I don't get to do this time period very often, so I'm very excited about these sleeves, so I wanted to start them first. I'm also going to just take this and pull out a little bit of the pleating because I do need to sew this piece together. And I don't necessarily want to sew over the stitching we just did. And just so we're clear, this is not a period technique. It's just a cheater's version of getting the period technique. Because I absolutely could do that by hand. And it would look just the same. I just have a little machine that'll do it for me. I'm going to do a little bit of a ruffle on the bottom of these bits. So I also need to sew together my ruffle, hem it, and then we can attach this, the ruffle and the lining. And then this bit will be prepped and ready to sew into this big sleeve when I finish prepping the big sleeve, because I still have the gathering threads that we talked about to do. Alright, so we're working on the top part of the sleeve right now, and I'm just going to sew this. I've been doing a double running stitch, or at least that's what I did with the last one, so that's what I'm going to do with this one. And I sandwiched the lining bit, and the ruffle, and then the fabric. It's actually my second time doing this one because for some reason I put the ruffle on backwards the first time. So I'm doing a double running stitch. So this is just running stitch, and then I'll go back around and do it again. And that'll hold it a little bit better. It's not as secure as a back stitch, but it's faster. Alright, let's finish prepping this big sleeve. So I have the wristband. Yeah, that's what it's called. And then pull the string as soon as I find the string. There it is. Wait, wrong string. There we go. Even out all the gathers. And I have been using a back stitch here just because I do need this to be fairly secure. And back stitch is the easiest way to do that. Alright, so I have a cat with me, but here's the finished upper sleeve with its needle ruffle. I guess I meant to do the ruffle 2 times the amount of this part, but for some reason when I measured it wrong, so it's really like 1.5. But I kind of like the subtle ruffliness, so I'm okay with it. Let's go ahead and attach it to this thing. And I have another gather. There's the gathering thread I need. Basically, we're just going to gather this to where it will fit. And it's getting all the little fuzzy bits out of the way. and it's not going to untie itself. And then I can sort of make these gathers a little bit more even. Alright, next step is sewing the bodice together. So here's the side and there's the shoulder seam. And I'm going to do a very small, this part is the fitted part that's going to actually take all the strain, if that makes sense. So I do need to make sure that this is sewn well. Alright, so continuing to work on this little project here, I'm on sleeves, so I got the sleeves done. I'm just sewing them into the bodice right now. So I did pipe the arm's eye as is typical, and then I'm just back stitching the sleeves in with not terribly tiny stitches, probably bigger than I need to be doing. Oh, but I did do something really cute with the buttons. I put the little orange bits in the middle of the buttons. I thought that was adorable. Also, really sorry about the beeping in the background. Sometimes my ice machine freezes over, and I'm so used to the noise whenever I unfreeze it that I didn't think about it till just this very second that I was filming with it on. So I'm sorry about that. Alright, next step, sewing the bodice to the waistband. So waistband, bodice, all gathered now. So I did run gathering threads. I'm doing a back stitch on this as well. Alright, hello. Ignore the sleeping cat. But we're working on the pelerine right now. So I'm doing basically the same thing I did with the upper sleeve. So there's the pelerine, the ruffle in between, and then the lining. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, kind of trim off this little edge here. Oh yeah, pull out the pins, forgot about those. And we're going to now we're going to attach it to the bodice. My nicely piped, almost finished bodice. The only thing I have left to do, aside from pelerine, is hooks and eyes, which I figured we'd go ahead and get the pelerine and pipe the neckline before we do that. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm going to match these lines. If I did my job right, then these pelerine bits are going to match. Oh, hi, kitten. Oh, hi. You know you're kind of in my eyesight, like I can't do what I'm supposed to be doing. I do need to wear this dress tomorrow, so I can't give you all the attention right now. I can give you some attention. And I've been calling it a pelerine. It's not really a pelerine. I guess it kind of is. It's almost more like a Bertha, but I don't know if that term comes into play yet. I don't know really what this would have been called. I've been calling it pelerine. Alright. Now let's pipe the neckline. I just made lots of doubled over piping, and I'm just going to cut down the center to make it a little less bulky. And that's how we're going to finish this edge, is just with the piping. Figured that would be the easiest way to manage that. So I can do the back stitch we did before on the waistband, and then I get to whip the other side together. Then the neckline should be piped and finished and nice and pretty. Alright, finishing up the piping at the neckline. Hooks and eyes are put in. We just have a skirt to do. Alright, working on the skirt facing. So I sewed the pieces together. That's what all I've done on the skirt. Just sewing little pieces together with running stitch, and I didn't film it because I figured you're going to be seeing a lot of running stitch for the next couple steps, and didn't feel like it was necessary to film that part of it. But yeah, sewing on the facing with the running stitch. Not a very nice, neat running stitch, but it's, you know, I did a nicer running stitch for the actual skirt part. This is just a facing. This is meant to get dirty and then get taken out and replaced, so it's not really nice. It doesn't really matter. I think I've decided I'm going to pleat the skirt I went back and forth on that. Pleating is going to be faster. I'm a better pleater than I am a gauger. And I could have actually used the smocking machine to do the gauging if I wanted to, but I'm looking at both originals from this time frame that I'm more or less copying. One for the gathery bit in the front, and the other, just for general stylized, design. And they're both box pleated. So I figured, oh, well, let's just do that then. Since both of the originals I'm copying are box pleated, might as well. So that's been decided. It won't take very long. I'm just trying to get this facing put in so that I can flip it over, iron it up, and while I'm at the iron, I'll go ahead and balance the skirt, so, iron down the top part at the waist. And that'll be more efficient, time-wise, to do both the ironing bits at the same time. So I need to finish this before I can do that step. And I'm trying to be very efficient with my time right now because I'd like to get to bed at some point, and I really want this done because I'm very, very close. So it's 11 o'clock at night. Actually, no, it's 10 o'clock at night. Okay, that's better. Hoping to be done within the hour. I started this at 9, so I'm trying to really push myself and see if I can get done with the whole skirt in 2 hours. Or, at least 2 hours and 30 minutes, something like that. Alright, working on the last few steps. I had the skirt pleated. Took me 3 or 4 tries, but I got it. So I'm a little bit more into my window than I wanted to, so now I'm at about 2 hours and 15 minutes, so I'll be done before 2.5 hours, and had I not had to do the pleating 3 times, it would have been done in 2 hours. Alright, and sewing the pleats to the waistband is our last little step. Alright, here we are. So I got to wear the dress in the event. It turned out really well. And it worked really well, so I'll get to try it on for you. I am in my short stays today because I was already filming the ending to that video, and so I'm not entirely sure this dress is going to fit with the stays, so I might have to pause and then go get the other stays on, but we're going to try it because it would be really nice if I didn't have to lace the corset today. And it still smells like smoke, even though I've washed it. It's like a perpetual problem. Oh, we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. There we go. Do some pins here. I think I had some issues just while I was working because this is not a fitted lining, that it was coming undone a little bit, so I just pinned it shut too. Which is why the pins are there. Okay. Well, let's see. I had to find where I put the other hooks. Oh, there they are. Oh, this is gonna fit easy. Okay, cool. So I can wear this dress to the short stays if I ever had to. Don't think I would, but if I had to, there, it works. Look at that. Haha. Then go ahead and do these. My gosh, I love this style of dress. If I could just do the late 1830s all the time, I would be so happy. I love late 1830s. I just do. I love poofy sleeves. I just don't like it when the poof is way up here. I like it when it's down here, which is a really weird place to have poof, but I don't know, I love it. I need more events in this time period. I just really do. Alrighty. There's our beautiful late 1830s gown. I absolutely love it. Again, I just love this time period. I really, really do. I don't know what it is. I think it's, I don't know. I love the sleeves of this time period, which is very weird because it's still very poofy. And I know I've said a lot of times I don't like poofy sleeves, but I really don't mind the poof when it's here. And even when it's like right here and it's still tight here and tight up here, I kind of like that too. So I just really love it. I just absolutely love it. But yeah, I mean the dress worked out really well for the event, even though it was again a last minute dress. it still worked out really well. It does look a little differently, I think, because things sit differently with my short lace stays or my short stays. But overall, very nice looking dress. I love this fabric. I love the style. I even like the little pelerines of this time period. It's just so cute. Just the whole effect. I need more events of this time period. So glad that the French legation opened up, because I can go over and do stuff like this. And here's the back. Need to make a second dress now, just of this time period. Maybe one with, more tight here and then poof just like right here. I think that would be nice. And maybe pleats down instead of the shirring or the, we did pleating, but we did horizontal pleating. Can you just do vertical rows of stitching? That's what I kind of meant, yeah. And then poof here and then a little bit tighter here. I think that's what we're going to do next time. I think I have fabric picked out already too, so. But yeah, I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. I'm glad I finally got to do something this time period. This is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. So I'm just ecstatic that we got this done. So that we were able to do this even. But thank you so much for joining me today as we made our late war 30s gown. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here on Monday.